course, you know, I would never, when I was in a foreign country, make a single political comment because you're guests in the country. I have nothing to say, except maybe if I ever went to Israel, because in order to say anything about Israel, you actually have to be there. Because everybody in Israel disagrees, right? Here, you're not allowed to say what anything.
Exactly.
But you know, you're a guest in the country. But no, I mean, everybody welcomed him. Batista was a criminal. The guy before him was a criminal.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, for all you might say about Fidel, and he has, you know, murdered people for political reasons, he's never been shown to be financially corrupt ever.
No. Nor is Raul, actually.
No, but Raul, no.
What were you doing though in that?
Oh, okay, because like, like it was 1959, and I was not the Joan of Arc type.
Oh no!
Like there were no really decent jobs for women at all.
Yeah.
And like the thought of going into one of these groom jobs, and I just fled the country.
Wow.
And the Ursulines had their own little Peace Corps because Kennedy was not elected yet.
Right.
Where they have like schools all over the world, where they want a Native American teacher to teach English, because like in Havana, half the day was in Spanish and half in English.
Right.
And they like to have as many Native. So they asked, you know, if you would go there, you would get a stipend, and you know, they give you room and board and everything.
Right.
And so I was happy to go. I had to get away from my family. I had to get away from the Bronx.
And you spoke Spanish, or?
I didn't have to speak Spanish, but I had studied Spanish in college. I hoped
After
to
all
be
that
speaking
Latin.
Spanish all the time. But actually, to understand Cuban Spanish is very hard. It's like Puerto Rican Spanish.
Yeah.
It's like the Andalusian accent. They leave off the syllables and everything. It was really torment. It was later when I lived in Europe and I was speaking to people from other parts of Latin America. You know, Mexicans I understand very well. Peru I can understand. But, you know, and also the Cubans are very, very witty, so they're constantly making jokes and puns. It's really hard to follow. You know, I remember
play
one day,
play on words and stuff. That
I know. I remember one day when they all started speaking Spanish, I just burst into tears because I could I thought for 4 years I was studying Spanish, and what good did it do me?
Can you give me this? Oh well.
But it was great, you know, because like it was great living in a foreign country.
Yeah.
You know, it's like very relaxing. It's fun living in a foreign. It's fun to be a foreigner because, you know, people think they know what Americans are. So the first thing they start saying, "You're not like Americans," and you think, of course not. I'm from New York. But the thing is, like, New Yorkers don't like each other either.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but
That's so true.
somehow they thought we all have blonde hair and blue eyes. You know.
I know. It's just
New Yorkers.
then
They
I
thought
guess-
New Yorkers would have blonde hair and blue eyes.
or just Americans in general.
Americans. They didn't realize New York is part of. I mean, honestly, do you remember after September 11th when President Bush said, "An attack on New York City is an attack on the United States"? And I thought, why doesn't this go without? Can you imagine saying an attack on Paris is an attack on France? I mean, how could it be any different? You know, do you really think? But
Yeah, I think he had to make sure that we were still in the country.
He had to
Yeah.
make
But
sure
the
that
fact
people.
is,
People in
feminists-
Texas
He
need
was
to be
just fact
reminded.
checking.
No,
That's right, right?
no, but I think he was right.
yeah.
I think he had to say that because
Island
there
off
were
the
some
coast.
senators out there who
Slightly
really felt they had no
removed.
responsibility.
Well, what was interesting was then to see people like Sarah Palin who talk bad
Oh.
about New York and over and over and over again, and then they would come to New York and pose in front of the the towers, the whole area, the catastrophe and stuff, and get the photo op. But then they would shop, of course, in New York City and hang out and be a tourist.
Century
But then they would go
21,
back
right?
to wherever they live and they would talk bad about those.
Well, Sarah Palin always
No,
talks about the
elitist.
real America, and that always cracks me up.
The real American. She has her own
Because
culture.
real America is a lot of concrete. For her version of it, when I saw pictures of that town in Alaska, that she,
Westilla.
yeah, it's basically fast food joints, concrete, flat, really no place that you would ever want to live. You know, but that's her definition of real
But
America.
you get to go in a helicopter and shoot wolves.
That is so cool, isn't it? Why can't we do that here in Central Park? What's wrong with this city?
We got some wolves and we got some coyotes in the central.
Yeah.
Are there some? Are there any yet? Coyotes?
They said one made an appearance a few years ago, but I don't know.
Oh,
In
no,
the
they
Bronx.
definitely
I
are
don't know.
around.
Oh, in Bronx. Well, there's a peacock up there too. Oh no,
Is
it's
there
Harlem.
really?
Sorry,
Oh, no.
that's not.
That's
That's
you,
Washington.
darling.
That's
That's
me.
Washington. Yes, this
That's
is-
me. I'm in Harlem.
Or is that
That's the
There's a
peacock.
big white
See?
peacock in Washington Heights that hangs.
Well,
there.
in the zoo, the peacocks walk around freely on the paths.
I love
They're,
it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They're very cool, the peacocks.
Yeah.
Because they just walk along the regular
They're not
roads.
scared
that
of
the
people,
people
so-
are
No,
walking
it's
along.
amazing. He's like a big white one.
I think
that's
they're
just
kind of
like, I
dumb
live
that
here.
way. Those
They're,
peacocks.
they're very, they're chill.
Yeah.
Peacocks are chill. There's a new breed, a cross between a coyote and a wolf. Actually,
Yeah,
there's
and
several-
I read about that, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
several different types. It
Yeah.
depends how much proportion of coyote and how much wolf
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have in them. But they're pretty threatening in cities because they don't have the natural fear that a wild creature would have.
Mm.
Well, that kid up in Nova Scotia was attacked by a pack of them and killed. Like this is 5 years ago or something. So, you know, hey, it's a dangerous
They're
world.
common, but coyotes are incredible because
And I used to
they.
date
They're
that
so
wolf,
smart, yeah.
actually.
Yeah, and if you they did this thing in California where they were shooting the coyotes with sterilizing guns and stuff. But then what would happen is that the coyotes that the female coyotes that hadn't been sterilized were having larger litters to compensate.
They're smarter.
Their DNA or whatever you want to call it,
It's
their genetics.
unbelievable.
I mean,
Nature's unbelievable. I
it's
mean, I remember like
unbelievable.
about
It's
2
wild
years ago, I
species.
heard about colony sensing in bacteria. Have you all heard of this?
No.
Okay, when a pathogen invades your body,
Um,
it doesn't start attacking right away because it knows you have an immune system. So it just sits there and waits to make more of it. And when it senses that it has built a large enough colony so that it will be able to overwhelm your immune system, that's when you get the sore throat and start. This
That's
is called
when the attack
colony
occurs.
sensing. And it was
Wow.
like, oh wow.
that's evil.
Contagion.
They're gonna
That's
bust,
evil.
they're gonna bust us down from 8 billion to 1 billion very, very quickly.
Yeah.
That's so
That's-
evil.
They've decided the carrying capacity is overloaded.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. Downsize. It's all downsize. You know. Yikes. Yeah. Well, yeah, we can learn from nature.
We are nature.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's
You
it,
are,
we
I'm not.
Yeah, our nature.
We are.
We just watched.
We're
Um,
it.
there's the Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's all about like him. It's like a PBS show where he talks about the world. And
He
how
was
Oh,
redoing the old Carl Sagan
Oh,
Cosmos
yes,
series.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's
And-
kind of fascinating, just like to learn about the whole world and how
Yeah.
nature works. And like the first episode's just all about like the creation of the world on a calendar year, as if it was one full year, and like everything right now is literally in the tip, the little corner of the calendar. The last 15
Like
seconds. of
man
the
is
year.
in the last few
Yeah.
seconds of a calendar year since the Big Bang, and it's
Are you trying to make me feel small?
Exactly.
That's
well, the
kind of
next
the
episode he
message.
jumps down and gets smaller, so
Oh.
he's going to stretch out the world.
There's another guy who does that really well. He's a Jesuit priest who has the title of Vatican astronomer, which means he spends half the year at Castle Gandolfo and the other half in Arizona. He has the coolest job in the world. And he likes to go on the panels against the, the creation scientists
Oh.
to explain to them why they're missing the point about evolution.
Oh.
And then he does that thing where he shows, it's been 4 billion years. Well, actually, he starts back 15 billion
Yeah,
years.
it's ridiculous.
And then he comes to the last second and the appearance of, human life. And he says, I just can't sit here and say that God is incapable of doing something. You know, like, I can't say God isn't capable of designing the whole thing so that things would evolve from, you know, this is, I don't understand the certainty. He's very funny with, well, I mean, he's about 80 years old, so he's had a long time to develop a sense of humor. And I mean, he lives a very cushy life.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I'm
you
sure.
know, he does.
Yeah. But his concept is that
Well, all Jesuits are required, in addition to being teachers, they're required to be a scientist of some sort. So his is astronomy.
and
some
so
are
then
biologists.
how do you
some-
balance the
Yeah,
facts with
yeah, and
fiction?
he feels, you know, I mean, the Catholic Church gave over on evolution long ago. There's only one thing they were holdout on that they disagree with modern evolution, which is that in modern evolution, it's all random. There's no, you know, heading toward the high point and we're it. We're just another accident. And not even the most important thing on the planet, you know, like, because, like, there's,
Which
like,
I buy.
yeah, there's many more species of, you know, of microorganisms and so forth like that. Whereas, like, if you're a Catholic, you have to believe that God had in mind getting to the point where he would create this creature that was in the image of God.
Right.
But that's, you know, and we were always taught that in religion class. We were not taught that in biology class. You know, they would say in biology,
Yeah, we were
they would
taught
say, this
Christian
is
science.
religion, this is not biology. When you take the New York State Regents, this is not biology. You know, this is our religion.
Come into play.
The kids in Bronx High School of Science don't know about this.
And shouldn't.
Don't have to.
I was taught that everything material is a lie and everything spiritual is the truth. So that meant that, you know, our physical bodies are lies and evolution is a lie and everything's a lie. The only thing that's true is spirituality.
Well, that
What
sounds
school
more
did
like
you
an
go to?
Eastern
I know.
religion where everything is illusion, you know.
Yeah.
What school was that?
It was Christian Science.
Oh, okay.
And it was strange.
Yeah.